Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Welcome back to Challenger Spectate. And yes, we are watching Pantheon, who typically I don't really rate as a great champion. But it's more that I don't rate a lot of early game champions as great champions. Because a lot of the time they're predictable, you can avoid them, don't let them get fed, and they fall off. Here's the thing. I think that if you guys didn't know, Riot just buffed Pantheon. They buffed him for the jungle. I actually think jungle is where this champion suits the most, if not support, jungle. I don't think he's good in top lane or solo lanes, because that is genuinely one of the carry roles, and if you play top lane against Pantheon, you can just choose to play passive against him. Anyway, Flash level 1, MagiFelix, quite a known player, doesn't go down, but has to use Flash, but obviously, technically, a Flash for a Flash, and one of Pantheon's biggest tools in the early game is Flash Wing things, and now that is gone, and it did not translate into a kill, so that's not great. Yeah, why do I think he's better in the jungle? Well, typically, or in my opinion, Pantheon is kind of like what you've got on the enemy team, Nidalee, that they're both more early game snowbally champions. But if you're playing top lane, someone can just play passive against you, and they'll go, yeah, I'll lose some farm, I'll get behind in that avenue, but I'm not going to feed a Pantheon. But in jungle, you can't always avoid a Pantheon because he's ganking you. That's the thing. Can you avoid any jungler? Like, you could all, if you wanted to, all play passive. Guys, do not let Pantheon ganks work on you. But then all three lanes have to play passive. That's never going to work. So when he's a jungler and he's hidden, he can force fights in the early game where he's strong. And that's kind of the way that he can get fed. And again, he still will fall off. But the strength of Pantheon is getting ahead in the early game to make you an item or two ahead in mid game, so it doesn't really matter that you fall off because you're already an item or two ahead of your opponent. But yeah, so anyway, I'm not doing a full clear, by the way, so this is something that's actually quite interesting to me, is obviously I've been jungling a little bit more than I was a few weeks ago, months ago, and a lot of people said that my jungle clears were out of date, so that's where I was paying attention to more. Oh, is it bugged? Oh, yeah, it is. I will make that go and come back. There you go. Now it's up to date. But yeah, my jungle paths were out of date. Why were my jungle paths out of date? Because I was not full clearing was quite a big part of it. Because back in the day, you never used to, when I mained jungle many years ago, as if COVID, thanks so much for the 7 months tier 1. But yeah, when I used to main jungle, you never used to full clear because you couldn't. The champions weren't strong enough to full clear. But nowadays, pretty much every single jungler can. So this is the early game nature of Pantheon. He's invading, but the thing is, Nidalee actually has one of the fastest jungle clears in the game, so he's too late. Even though he's skipped Krugs, he hasn't done blue or wolves, he's still too late to actually invade a Nidalee. Anyway, this is a good gank. Why? Because of what happened at level 1. You know you don't have the flash on the Zilean. And I will say, that is unfortunate for MagiFelix, but I don't blame MagiFelix for dying there on Zilean, because the Pantheon has done a really weird clear. Like, if I guarantee, if I did this clear, dude, the comment... Oh, that's unfortunate. That's why you don't flash it straight away or smite it straight away. But, dude, I reckon the comment section would have hounded me for this game. Like, Huz, your jungle clear was so bad, blah, blah, blah. Flash by Pike. And that's the thing. You can't always just do the same jungle clear every single game. You sometimes have to do tricky things or different things, especially at the highest rating you go. And that's what this guy was trying to do this game. Unfortunately for him, again, the enemy bot lane roam up, by the way. Unfortunately for this Pantheon, Nidalee's got an insanely fast jungle clear herself, so by the time he actually got over to invade her red, because he is pretty damn strong at fighting early, that's what he's known for, it's too late. Yes, he got a nice kill first blood in mid, and that is good, but then that puts him on the back foot that Nidalee is already about ahead in XP, because Nidalee full cleared. She did a whole jungle camp. So Nidalee did the modern jungling of I'm doing every single jungle camp, where Pantheon's done kind of weirdly like a more old school one of I'm selecting the ones that are easier for me to do, and kind of then I'll do a gank. So again, another gank here on MagiFelix. Does get E'd. I'm not sure this kill is on with the Q. With the flash, they do get it with the flash. So again, second kill on Zilean in the early game. And yeah, so far, 32 farm Nidalee to 12 farm Pantheon. This is really not going very well, but we'll see how this game translates, how it keeps going. Because obviously another one of, I'd say, I'm trying to be nice, by the way, to Pantheon, even though I don't think the champion's great. Another one of his strengths, I would say, in the jungle than top, is ulting. So when you're against a Pantheon in top lane, and people in my chat who play top lane right now, Shmeon, Blindy Boom, everyone knows this. When your Pantheon goes missing, he's looking to ult. He's either looking to ult you if you overextend trying to get tower plates. He then ults on top of you. You're a bit overextended. He might kill you then. But it's very regular that a Pantheon might try to ult bot lane because there's 2 people to try and get a kill down there in. But that's the thing. When you're in top lane and he's missing, you can spam ping, Pantheon's missing, look out for his ult. In jungle, there is none of that. You don't know where he is. You don't know when he's going to ult. There isn't a, hey, he's not in top lane right now, so look out bot lane. He can just do it any time when he's in the jungle. There's no one to warn you. Hey, Winfang. So that's another strength, I'd say, of Pantheon in the jungle over top lane. Is that kind of being a bit more secretive about when you're going to ult instead of kind of giving it away. So that's also a pretty nice thing. So he is quite far behind. Luckily, obviously, he's had 2 assists. That's going to definitely help. If he didn't have those, this would be very bad. But he is holding out of his assists. So both junglers holding a 2 kill participation right now. Just hit level 5. Do hear Gangplank going on, I think, in top lane somewhere. And obviously, it's worth knowing we've got a Caitlyn Nautilus versus a Draven Pike. Draven Pike is always going to be one of the most aggressive, kill-focused early games, like pretty much duos in the entire game, just by the nature of both champions. So a Caitlyn will do well against a Draven eventually, but it's kind of that scaling kind of thing. You need to survive the early onslaught. This could be on. If he lands it, flash. But they trade. Silas has just become Nidalee, and that will be that. So unfortunately, both flash Ws that Panther's done this game have not translated into kills, and that obviously is never a good thing. Again, a more basic champion like Pantheon, you do want to try and make those flashes count. And unfortunately, that has now returned to both of the enemy team, sorry, the friendly team to Pantheon. Both of the bot lane just died. At least Caitlyn did get a kill, though. Someone just pointed out, which potentially might be true, there might be 6 pro players in this match. So you've got Caps in mid lane. This guy's the jungler Rogue who we're watching. I'm guessing the top laner is, I don't know the team, but I'm guessing that's a team. I don't know if MagiFelix is an active pro right now, but has been. And then I don't know anybody else. So if you know who these pros are, let me know. But there might be like 6 pros, which is kind of mad. And again, we're watching obviously high challenge at EU West, which typically, again, Challenger in EUS starts at 900 LP at the moment, so all of these players probably are like 1,000 LP at the moment. Can he get his first scuttle? He's going to go for it. He W's it, and then we'll kill it in one combo this time. So Martik thinks it's Draven, Pike, Zillion, Silas, Pantheon, and Tam. Okay. Again, who are these 2? Tar Gamas is G2 support. Okay. So by the way, what's happening here... Pantheon's waiting to ult. Like, just straight up. He hit level 6. He's waiting to ult. I'm expecting to have it a tower dive in a second. Silas is down there. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen it by now. Very close. He should have ulted. He should have, like, blocked off the path to escape and then gone for the all-in. So MagiFelix is down here. Obviously, it's worth knowing. Modern day League of Legends. Again, he is really squishy. Modern day League of Legends, a lot of it is about roaming. That is just... Again, for me, the unfortunate thing, because I just don't love roaming, but that is what modern League of Legends has become. So that was just straight up basically a 4v4 fight in bot lane at 8 minutes in the game, and that is completely normal nowadays. It's really weird. So Nidalee having a good game so far, 3-0-2. So this game, so is not looking very good. The red team is down gold. Pantheon ults. Guessing that ult was to do with like stopping the blue. Can they get a recovery kill here? This would be pretty... Oh, Nidalee's made a huge mistake. That is big. See you later, Bindy Boom. That is big. Nidalee could have gotten away, I'm pretty damn sure, in that situation. You guys saw in Cougar form, she bounced or jumped towards the Nautilus trying to escape. She should have given up that kill and run, because that just gave... And that is the type of thing, right? So far, an early game Pantheon is 0-2, down on farm, is kind of struggling. The way that these champions get back in these games is something like that. It's a shutdown that they shouldn't really be getting. It's usually mistakes that enemies... it's usually mistakes that you make something like a Pantheon do well. It's not usually a Pantheon playing well. Because, you get it, he's pretty basic. It's the same thing for a Master Yi, or, the more basic the champion is, the more they don't really outplay you. You kind of outplay yourself. Anyway, again, another straight into a 3v3 bot lane, by the way. Just straight away. Fight 4v4 happened, reset a little bit, and bam, we're straight back into a 3v3. Pyke gets himself caught, and that will be a nice kill again over to the Pantheon. So this is how he is, like, recovering his game. So Flying Grim says he's definitely not a Panth player. You never go Gore Drinker on Panth. Honestly, though, I don't see why you wouldn't. Gore Drinker is obnoxiously strong just as an item. It's definitely not balanced, and pro players know it's not balanced. So why would you not abuse Gore Drinker on a champion that can use it? In my opinion, that kind of works. Oh, did Caitlyn not ult? That's a shame. Caitlyn ulted. I think that could have been a nice kill. Nice spear by Nidalee. Doesn't help Panth's kit. It does and it doesn't, though, because Pantheon ultimately is going to be in the middle of combat, and if you can just press Gore Drinker and heal up to full health by pressing one button, that's really powerful. If Gore Drinker wasn't as strong, I would definitely agree with you, but Gore Drinker is so obnoxiously strong, I think it is actually good on a champ like Panth. Like, if I go on Pantheon's stats right now and just look up percentages of items, so the default item it tells you to go is Eclipse, which I think that is standard. But then if we look into where is the first Gore Drinker that comes up? So yeah, it's the fifth most popular build, but the most popular builds all have Eclipse in it. First 4 builds have Eclipse. The 5th most popular build has Gore Drinker in it. And then under Gore Drinker, there's more Eclipse builds. Then there's eventually a Divine Sunderer. But yeah, so it's not terrible. And in higher rating play, you have to remember, higher rating play, they really value broken items that you can abuse. And everyone knows at this rating, all pros, high rating players like Gore Drinker are strong. It's also more survivability, especially, and again, you also adjust to the game you're in. You also never know if he was going to do Eclipse, but the early game, remember, went pretty bad. So because it went bad, instead of going Eclipse, which is very damage orientated, maybe he's gone, I should go Gore Drinker because it's more survival orientated. That's also a possibility as well. People do adjust the build to the game that they're in. So Pyke just got killed in a 1v2 roughly situation in bot lane. Draven's even healing, doesn't hit his E. And I think Caitlyn's actually going to survive, which is very nice. So that's also a wasted heal on Draven. Nice play by her. I would say if there is 6, obviously, pro players... Tom Games Badly just said only the Nidalee and Gangplank have never been on a pro/semi-pro team. Wow, that is a really stacked lobby. Like, that's crazy. I am surprised Dragon hasn't been attempted yet. Well, Nidalee, I will say, isn't the best at doing dragons. Pantheon, though, not bad, I would think. So with the aggression in this game, and especially how much has happened bot lane, I am surprised neither team's gone, let's do Infernal Dragon. Because, yeah, Infernal has, remember, been buffed up to 6% AD and AP, so it's even better. Especially if I was playing a jungler that falls off, I would especially prioritize Infernal Dragon, because 6% extra AD, it takes a bad scaling champion into becoming actually not that bad. You know, that's the thing. People really, I think, underappreciate sometimes these dragons. Meanwhile, Draven's dead, so this is probably the scaling that we spoke about earlier. That, you know, yes, Draven Pyke you can't really deal with as a Caitlyn Nautilus, or most lanes, to be honest, but eventually a Caitlyn will beat a Draven, and that's kind of what you're seeing here. Pantheon, dude, I thought he was just straight up basing, but no, he's ulting. Where are we going? Top lane. So he was trying to use the Gangplank that was, like, getting tower. Nice little dodge there. Would he flash? He really wants this kill. I think Gangplank has just made a runner. Oh, flash! Into the E, into the Gore Drinker, into the Q. Not enough damage, but he's got his proc and then gets the kill. Actually quite nice killing spree Pantheon. So from starting the game 0-2, he is now 3-2. That is not bad at all. 4 people in the area in bot lane again. And that is a dead Caitlyn. Will that finally translate into a dragon? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not, though. I don't know. Yeah, because Pyke's here, Draven's here, unless Nidalee can... Well, Nidalee, she can solo it, definitely at level 10, 100%. So she's probably doing it now. Yeah, they just pinged help on Dragon. So they're doing it now, finally. And obviously it took to kill the Caitlyn, and now they can finally do it. So there's that. They might look for a gank. Oh, this could be a good gank. Tahm Kench, incredibly tanky. He can tank tower for a while. If Gangplank comes here, there could be an engage. By the way, that dragon is still not dead. He cancelled his base, by the way, because he is wanting to look for this gangplank. There he is. Oh, dude, this guy knows. Wait, did they actually not do dragon? Oh, they got it. Dude, that was the longest dragon in the world. Gangplank ult coming down. Really good, obviously, defense to towers. So, yeah, that was genuinely like the longest dragon I've ever seen. I did say Nidlee's not very good at killing dragons. She isn't. But, yeah, damn. That was a long time. All right, so the game might slow down for a while, potentially. Worth knowing, because before this, I did look at Magi Felix's profile just to see if I wanted to watch him, because he's top 10 challenger as well at the moment. He's been playing a lot of Zilean mid. I think Zilean is an incredibly strong champion at the moment, but I don't like Zilean mid. The Zilean, he's kind of like a Pyke to me, but it's like the reverse. There's no point playing Pyke mid because Pyke support does the same job. In my opinion, it's kind of the same thing with Zilean. Just play Zilean support. He does the exact same job. His ultimate job is CC and reviving. Why would you play that mid lane? I don't know. Caitlyn overextends or gets caught, goes down. Nidalee is around the back trying to look for a cheeky hook. Or not hook, spear. Yeah, dragons are harder to kill, to be fair. Oh, that'll be why, actually. Yeah, good reminding. Pantheon ult coming down, does get stunned by Pyke E, and Rampage is the Pantheon. Ah, that's why the dragon took longer to kill. The longer, for those that don't know, and again, this is something that I had to remember, the longer the dragon is up, every single minute, I think it is, it gains health. And because nobody killed that dragon in the early game, that dragon could have had like 10,000 health. That's why it took so long. And Nidalee's not a great dragon killer, so it's kind of both of them added up. But yeah, damn. So this game is still pretty open. Obviously, it's worth knowing. Red team have made so far a pretty good recovery. They're still down, obviously, a dragon, but they were behind on gold. They're now slightly ahead. They were, I think, even down on kills. They're now slightly ahead. So they have turned this game around. Pantheon himself has also turned around his own game, starting, obviously, as we saw, 0-2 is now 4-2. So that's a much better start. Farm-wise, Nidalee is still ahead, but again, that gap has even closed too. So Nidalee trying to kill the Panth. Again, the one thing with Pantheon is he actually is quite hard to kill, especially when he procs Conqueror. And there you go, big shutdown. Magi Felix flashes to try and get the revive off the Nidalee, and now that's ultimately going to probably screw him to die as well. Bam, he does use his revive, but what's the point? And another kill for the caps on Silas. So yeah, not bad at all. So Nidalee, you know, people might go like, "Huz, look, he's doing it." You know, it's kind of mid game. He's not early game. Do remind yourself, he is fighting another early game champion of Nidalee. So if he was fighting Kayn, or like if a Kayn or a Kha'Zix or whatever like meta equivalent that isn't early game was 5-2-2 with 115 farm, guarantee that fight down what just happened there with the Pantheon might have gone slightly different. But Nidalee is also early game. But it's really good that Pantheon got that kill. Again, Nidalee couldn't burst the Pantheon because Pantheon's got E. It delays the fight. It also enables him to get that Conqueror on the go. And then after you got Conqueror and Gore Drinker, yeah, good luck killing somebody because the amount of healing they can do is crazy. Nidalee getting caught. W into everything. It gets eaten. Looks like Cat is on the menu today by the Tam. Panth ulting. It's a very short ulti. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. They're going for a big dive, though. Boom, they kill 2 people. That might translate, obviously, into another Rift Herald. So, oh, no, that is... I thought that Rift Herald just got spawned, and I was like, what the hell's going on there? No, that is the Rift Herald. It got started in combat, and it was kind of freaking out a bit. But that should translate now into Rift Herald, which is always a good thing, too. And yeah, if that was a Zac, Tom just said in the chat, yeah, if that was a Zac as well, if that was any other thing than really a Nidalee, maybe a Lee Sin as well would have struggled, but anything meta mid to late game champion there, that wouldn't have gone as well. So this is, again, we're giving Pantheon a chance to show he has more strength than, well, he's much better in the jungle than top is basically what I'm trying to say, because you can't avoid a Pantheon as easy in the jungle as in top, because in top you can just literally go, I'm just playing passive, screw you. You can't really counter that in the jungle because your countering to it is, oh damn, I got ganked, I'm dead. Like, it's harder to counter. So Dragon is spawning in 15 seconds, and Silas just died. Really bad. Oh, that was a bad pike play. Oh, unfortunately, they didn't get that. Big hook by Nidalee. Why do they keep calling it hook? Big spear by Nidalee. Does get a big shutdown herself. Draven going crazy aggro. Under a tier 2 tower is a bit questionable. Oh, that Q. So again, enemy team has actually made a bit of a comeback here. Pantheon using his E, avoiding the damage. Draven's going to go down. This is the recovery that red team needed to not enable the enemy team to go straight away to Dragon. So yeah, people, whenever we mention Pantheon, people always mention that spear shot guy. Presumably, again, you know, if he likes playing top lane, then he might just stay in top lane. But I presume he's been playing jungle, right? Does get 1 kill. Can it translate into a double? They can't kill him right now. Well, Gangplank will. But yeah, he does survive that situation, which is bad. Unfortunately, couldn't get another kill. But yeah. Yeah, I think the spatial guy, he is a top lane player. So he's probably going to continue to want to play Pantheon top lane. But yeah, it's what I've always said, like, whenever people say to me, and it's not just Pantheon, whatever champion, but Huz, that one player, there are exceptions to every single rule. And Hope Arc, 8 months for Prime. Thank you so much, dude. There are exceptions and outliers to every single rule. Whenever I talk about a champion, what people have to realize, and sometimes they don't, I'm talking about the average. And I'm not even talking about the average in, like, League. I'm talking about even the average player in the rating that I'm in. So right now, when I talk about Pantheon, I'm talking about a typical average player in Master EU West. And even though those people don't do very well most of the time. But Spearshot, he is an exception. He's a crazy 1000 LP Pantheon specialist. Any specialist can do well. As I've always said, the player is more important than champion. And if you are a god at a certain champion, you can make anything work in League. Anything. You can get anything to challenger. It's up to you as a player. And he is clearly like the exception to most rules about Panth. What I will say, I do disagree that people have told me about him. Again, apparently he's a really friendly guy. And maybe, I don't know, if I could have a chat with him maybe one day, I don't know. But one thing that people have said to me is, like, apparently he thinks Pantheon scales well. That's the one thing that I will just say I openly would disagree with. And I think where the mentality of, oh, Panth actually does scale, he doesn't scale. Mathematically, he doesn't scale at all. He can, at the moment, he has access to nice strong items, which other top laners do as well, and that might be part of it. But with Pantheon, most of the time in his probably own games in top lane, because he specializes in it and he's so good at Pantheon, I imagine in 9 games out of 10, he's leaving lane phase ahead of his opponent by probably at least an item. And that's what gives him the impression of, I actually scale pretty well. Hey, I'm still beating that champion and we're in mid game now. Oh, I'm still beating that champion, we're just in late game now. Yeah, he's probably an item or 2 ahead of that opponent at the time. Oh my god, that was sick. That prediction by Caps was insane. Nice. That is where I think... See you later, Ace. Good luck, my dude. That is where I think the impression of scaling comes, of you are already ahead, you got ahead from your early game, and it gives you the impression of, oh, I'm still strong right now. That's what I think it is. But, yeah. Good morning from NA. Question for chat. Does Twitch ever falsely email you, you are a mod now? That isn't a thing. You don't get an email if you've been modded, so careful for scams. Alright, so Deadman's Plate built 3rd item. Not bad item on Pantheon, by the way. Just, you know, he's got his ultimate. But as I said earlier, he is quite reliant on Flash to get the Flash W. So having Deadman's, it's not going to obviously make you completely not rely on Flash, but it gives you that extra engage movement speed that is actually quite valuable. So never sleep on Deadman's. Silas goes to aggro, gets killed by the duo of Nidalee and Draven. Draven does survive. See you later, tea drinker. And yeah. Alright, so enemy team has a bit aggro right now. Misses the Q, unfortunately, for Pantheon there. If he held it, they kill Nidalee anyway. Nice hook there. Teleport, which we obviously couldn't see because it's still bugged. Nice Q on the pike. Double kill for Caitlyn, who at this stage has scaled. And Pantheon being on top of the Zillion, and Pantheon gets herself a triple kill. Meanwhile, you've got a split pushing Gangplank. I don't really blame this guy for just constantly split pushing, but it's never going to probably help that much. Like, Gangplank, as we all know, is a god team fighter. His barrels and ult are insane for team fighting, so it is a bit weird for me that he is just not wanting to group, but yeah. Hey, D-Dum, how's it going? And there is the Baron healed. The thing is, by the way, because the Gangplank, why I'm guessing he's split pushing, he's probably a bit tilted or whatever, he is behind. Tam has just itemized well, and just straight up the Tam can just kill the Gangplank if he wants to. So the Gangplank is struggling, and maybe that's why he's split pushing, of like, oh, if I can just split push, you guys don't die, get me 3 items, then maybe it's okay. And yeah, no, true. I don't want to make the impression that I think Pantheon is useless in late game. Very true. He's not useless in late game. He is a really good distraction. Kind of like Renekton. Renekton isn't useless in late game. Yes, these are early game centric champions, and what I mean by that is their carry capability is more inclined for the early game than late. They won't ever, from being weak in the early game, they don't get stronger as the game goes on through scaling. You know, that's the point. Is they will get stronger through items, etc., but they don't scale as much as other champions do with items, but it doesn't make them useless. Pantheon's great thing is looking for those good flanks, getting on top of the AD carry, and the funny thing with Pantheon, he's not exactly a tank, but he is tanky. He has an ability that blocks all damage incoming, and that's just going to make you not really die, and also at the same time be an incredible distraction. That is useful, 100%. It's just his carrying capability is just not as there as if you compare him, especially in top lane, compare him to a Fiora or compare him to a Camille. It just isn't there, obviously. But yeah, not bad fight. Oh, again, sometimes, I don't know if obviously this guy, because he's a pro player, Pantheon has just been buffed in the jungle. Again, remember, a lot of pro players are practicing in solo queue, that he might be trying out Pantheon to see if it's worth picking in pro play. Just reminding, because people might go, wait, early game champion and pro play. Just reminding people, pro play is inherently different to solo queue. Yes, the scaling is the same, but that is where Renekton has been pretty bad in solo queue for a long time. But in pro play, he was literally pick or ban, and that's what caused all the nerfs on Renekton to be even worse, is because he was picked in pro play at the time, and he still was awful in solo queue. Pro play, they can use strategy, and something like a Pantheon in the early game, if you wanted, with team composition and pressure, etc., pick something like a Pantheon in the early game and dominate the early game, you can do that with something in pro play because you've got the coordination. You also wouldn't screw yourself completely, that if you're picking a Pantheon, you make sure your comp scales in other areas, because you're not going to scale in the traditional sense in the jungle, but hey, we'll run a Kayle top lane or something. She'll have the scaling, or a Kassadin mid. You get the scaling in other places. So that's the good thing with pro play, is you can play early game champs like Pantheon or Renekton. You just kind of use the strength of it in the early game as a team, and then you have the carrying capabilities in other roles. But honestly, like, just straight up, I genuinely think Pantheon is a better jungler than in any other role. I'll be interested to see what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Be very interested. It's also worth knowing, as I've said earlier, a lot what I say is to the rating that I'm currently in. If you play Pantheon and you're in silver or gold or bronze, Pantheon's probably fine in the vast majority of ratings. It's just the higher rating you go, you see it. You literally see, like, if this game instead of was Gangplank Tam, if it was Gangplank Pantheon, the Gangplank would just play passive. He'd farm safely with his barrels, with his Q, and he would just wait. He wouldn't risk it. But in the jungle, you can't just wait, because the Pantheon's just ganking your face. But anyway, that is going to be it. If you guys enjoy, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to